Good morning, everybody. I'm going to do something different for this issue of the newsletter. I'm going to host a podcast instead. This is partly due to the fact that my brain these days have been a bit sluggish when it comes to writing newsletters. I'm not sure why, but because it has something to do with the booster I just got, the COVID booster shot I just got a few days ago, or it could also be the fact that my life is full of stuff. On top of that, I have a brand new microphone that I want to test, so this seems like a good opportunity to do so. So, welcome to my really unofficial podcast, which I should start branding or something, but uh, I just don't have the brain power to do it, and I like simplicity at best, so there's no music in the beginning, just my voice. So today we're going to talk about something that has been occupying my brain for months, and it's Mastodon. So I think I wrote about this extensively before, why I quit Twitter. But to summarize things, I never really liked being on Twitter because I felt as if I couldn't control what I see, and I have a very hard time communicating with people I follow. So meaning that they hardly get my post, I hardly get theirs, and I get a stream of other people's posts, which I don't subscribe to, And I just felt that I had to do a lot of things just to have a sane time on Twitter. Like I had to mute 10,000 words. I had to block 10,000 people. It just felt like I was on shifting sands constantly. And each time I log onto on Twitter, I get upset by some devastating, horrible political news, doom scrolling stuff, uh, and to see some of the people I follow rant against people. So yeah, I never enjoyed Twitter, but I just felt as if like, oh, I have no other choice because I don't like Facebook with a vengeance. I'm barely there because of it. I just hated the fact that my data was mine and used to, support causes that are extreme. So and also I really don't like looking at people's feeds. It just felt too much. I don't like Facebook. I don't like Instagram. Twitter was the only one I like because I like microblogging in general. Anyway, just as a just an aside, but I have uh, my nose is acting up because it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I always have sinus problems in the morning. My allergies really kick in the morning, and I end up sniffing and stuff. So I'm sorry if you hear me sniffing. It's really embarrassing, but there you go. So about Mastodon, I joined Mastodon because I felt that I need to sort of like park there, uh, just in case if Twitter melts down. Because around November, there was just this real possibility that Twitter could collapse overnight because Elon fired 10,000 people, and he was making so many changes, and I hated the changes. Like forcing me to look at a feed I didn't want to look at, recommending me tweets that I just don't want to see. So I just thought, okay, you know what? In case Twitter melts down tomorrow, I at least will have a place to go to, like a boat. I joined Mastodon with no expectations. I just felt like, okay, what's another social media channel? But 5 months later, I'm still here and I'm having time of my life, and I can confidently say that you know it has been the best social media experience of my last 10 years, and that's so sad. I mean, but it's true. I think part of the reason is because there's no algorithms controlling what you see and how people see your tweets, sorry, they call it tweets there. So without the algorithm, it's quite surprising how high the engagement gets. Like, I could write a blog post, share it on Mastodon, and usually these kind of things get ignored on Twitter. Like, I don't get a single comment or reshare. But on Mastodon, surprisingly, I actually get comments. People actually take the time to leave Mastodon, to look at my article, read through it, and come back to Mastodon and leave a comment. And that blows my mind because it's like, people actually do that. Wow. So that's something I'm quite amazed by. I have found so many fascinating people around the world. Anyway, by the way, the tweets that the sounds that you hear, it's my Mastodon going off. They're very active around 7 o'clock my time. Let me turn it off. Okay, so what was I saying? Yeah, um, the people on Mastodon, I think by their nature, because they are Twitter refugees and they just want a better experience, are just a little bit different than the ones you find on Twitter or the ones that seem amplified on Twitter. They are more, how to say, thoughtful, mindful, almost kinder. I have had such rich, intelligent conversations with so many people of so many interests there. It's amazing and very addictive. I think the first 2 months I was there, I just couldn't get my eyes off it. It's like, oh my God, this is so amazing. People are talking to me. Um, and I've become more and more and more aware of how centralized platforms were literally screwing with my brain. I've always known that algorithms wasn't great, but it made me realize that algorithms has not just impacted my mental health, it has also impacted my creativity. For example, I was contributing so much of free content to Twitter when I could be, contributing it to my blog, a place where I own 100%. I was giving all this free content to these platforms, but instead of rewarding me, they, sort of like my content, I mean, my stuff wasn't shown to my followers. Instead, it was used to sort of drum up engagement figures so that they can sell ads. That's all I was good for. The ad was my content wasn't there to edify people. It was there to feed advertising, and I didn't want to be part of that anymore. I realized that whatever it is, the content that I share on whatever social media, whether it be Mastodon or whatever, I'm going to own it from now on. I'm going to put it on my blog, and Mastodon is just going to be an outlet where I share said content. Moving on. So, a lot of people, when they come over to Mastodon, especially we look at the hashtag new here or introduction, will often say that Mastodon is so different, such a positive experience. People are so nice here. That is well and surely good, but Mastodon also has a dark side. Like, for example, uh, unfortunately, you have to be very careful about which instance you join because the admin is sort of all powerful. If you end up in a rather toxic instance with maybe unreasonable moderation systems, so to speak, you will have a hard time. But if you join an instance that's very well run, reputable, with great moderation teams, you know, um, you have a much better time. And what I notice about Twitter refugees is that when they come over to Macedon and they bring over their habits, and what I talk about habits is like, the way they posted on Twitter, like argumentative, you know, uh, dogpiling. All this is frowned upon on Macedon. A lot of people on Macedon don't like it. Of course, I guess it depends on the culture of the instance as well. But in general, people are more considerate and understanding and will push back hard against people who are, abusive. Um, yeah, not nice, basically. But it's a very gray line. There are some issues that are kryptonite on Macedon and kind of dangerous to wade into, I feel, because I actually recently had a taste of that when I, waded into a controversy that I shouldn't have waded into because I don't know much about the issue. And even on Twitter, it's explosive. I think some of you will know what I'm talking about. Those gender issues, politics, uh, things like that. I would caution you to be careful, especially if you don't have any skin in the game, or you're just a casual observer that doesn't know much about stuff. Try to be careful because people get very, 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 very touchy here. You remember on Twitter where there could be packs of people roaming about trying to dogpile on people on certain issues. This happens on Mastodon as well. Yeah, I know. There are trolls on Mastodon, believe it or not. And these people will actually look out for hashtags of causes they're watching, go through the posts on that said hashtag and attack anyone that doesn't agree with them. Something like that. It's unfortunate, but it does happen. You can actually ended up getting reported for about your post. And sometimes, sure, it could be because you were rude and uncivilized and all that. But sometimes it's just because you did not share the same opinion. And this is a, a sad fact about social media. It doesn't matter if it's Mastodon or Twitter, but on Mastodon, I feel that the power given to users to block, report, and mute people is a bit higher than Twitter's. And that power in the wrong hands can really, really screw things up and make lives difficult for people. And yeah, so just be cautious because I recently experienced that. And I got my account suspended for a while because I spoke about an issue that was very, very hot back then. And well, I didn't share the same opinion, basically. On hindsight, I don't blame the admins at all, because imagine this. Another fact of life on Mastodon is that there are always instance wars. Instance is the server that you're sitting on, right? And Mastodon is made out of many, many instances. There are constant wars all the time between them. Okay, I'm exaggerating. And most of the time, with all the big instances, the well-run ones, usually don't have a problem. But when I first joined Mastodon, the host, which is a server for journalists, was defederated from several instances. I have no idea why, because when I came in, I just like, what's going on? What's going on? Why are journalists being blacklisted, so to speak? And it turns out it was for some vague reason that I still to this day don't really get. So for some people like us, especially if we sit right in the middle of issues, you're a bit of a centrist. You tend, well, I tend to bump into landmines without realizing it, and then when I start tweeting about it, whoa, you could get a massive reaction. So, one, trolling does happen, and when it happens, it's very scary. I was pretty down when I was suspended because I felt as if I was suspended for very flimsy reasons, but I can understand why, because the admin explained to me, look, this is the situation. And I like that fact about moderation on Mastodon is that the admins will take pains to explain why you were banned, rather than it was like suddenly you get this vague anonymous email in your inbox saying that you're banned and you have no idea why. And then they'll point out the post in question, and even though you don't agree with why you were banned for those, at least you kind of know why, vaguely. Anyway, I was the suspension was lifted 3 hours later after I deleted said post, and I moved on with my life. One thing to protect yourself from these trolls is that you need to filter and block aggressively. Make it really hard for them to find you. You know, I mean, I don't know whether this is kosher or not, but basically, when I went to this tweet that started it all, basically an instance melted down. The instance name is Mastodon.lol, and the admin is shutting down the server because he didn't want to handle the harassment he was getting anymore. And then as a person who was bullied a few times in my life, I really empathize with people who are being bullied. So I think that's the reason why I also reacted so strongly in this case and posted about it. Usually I stay out of these things. I just don't want to talk about it because it's like, I know how these people are. They like to dogpile and attack you. But I couldn't stay away this time because this guy was obviously very mentally affected. But there's a lot of other things that went into this situation that I probably am not privy to. I'm only seeing certain aspects. Um, Anyway, on that post where he announced his retirement from the server, so to speak, there were a lot of nasty comments. A lot. And I'm talking about really horrible, nasty comments, like people calling him Nazi, people calling him Hitler, people calling him horrible, horrible names. And I'm like thinking, what is this all about? You know? And it turns out it was because of a video game, but I guess some of you who are savvy enough will know what I'm talking about. But please don't go there. Seriously, it's like, oh my god, it's like it's so illogical to me. Uh, Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything anymore because these people will come after me again. But anyway, I see all these comments and all these people making those comments, and I thought to myself, uh, I don't want these people to ever find me, ever, ever. Like, so I blocked them. So I went through that tweet, looked at all the nasty comments, and blocked every one of these people who made those horrible comments, like really horrible comments. I think I blocked about 100 people that day. You know, I just went through that hashtag and said, okay, these people, this is how they're reacting to it. They're being really nasty. I'm gonna block you. Uh, so yeah, maybe is this the right thing to do? I don't know. You know, I prefer diversity of thought too, but I just cannot be with people or socialize with people who can just fly off the handle like that just because of a topic and on a video game like that, you know. So I don't need these people in my lives. I don't want them to ever come across my posts, you know. So I don't want them to see my posts ever, you know, in the future. Let's say in the future I post about something, I just don't want these people to know I exist. So this is what I do. You know, I block these people. I also filter out certain words. After this experience, I started filtering out certain words so that I will never be tempted to react. You know, cyberbullying is a sore spot for me, my trigger, so to speak. So if I see someone being cyberbullied, I can't help but react. And I try not to wade into drama most of the time, but cyberbullying, I just cannot take it. I just don't like seeing people harassed. Uh, Not that my words will help the harassed at all, you know, but I want people to know, you know, stop doing this. So I will add filtered words. Like, for example, on Mastodon, you can, especially, I think it's the desktop client that does this, not the app. So you go to your desktop client and you'll be able to filter out certain words. Like, for example, I really don't want to read about Trump, so I put his name there, you know, Trump, what he's called, you know, or Twitter. If you don't want to hear about Twitter on Mastodon, you just put the word Twitter, and then you'll filter out all accounts that mention the word Twitter. So don't go about demanding that people change the way they tweet or post or whatever. I would strongly advise you to filter strongly, block people, you know, and don't be shy about it. Seriously, I mean, I used to be on Twitter anyway. I used to be like, oh no, I should hear this perspective. I should, you know, be understanding. And now I'm like, I don't care anymore. If you're nasty, I'm blocking you. I just don't care, you know. All right, that's one. Beyond that, I think Macedon is a really nice place. Um, all because I get to control my experience. On Twitter, no matter how much I blocked or muted, I still get fed more toxic content. And that's because the algorithm likes to promote posts with lots of engagement. Engagement equals controversy and lots of hate and anger. But on Mastodon, you know, the post that no post gets promoted. It's just basically whatever that you have followed, and you can even follow hashtag. So one of the things I did was to follow hashtags that I like you know, I'm big into improving my writing this year, my fiction writing. So I follow the hashtag writing community, so I get to see what is being posted in that line. I have some happy hashtags that I follow. So every day when I go through my hashtag, I get lots of cat and dog pictures. I get a beautiful art and photography. I like that. So I also like the fact that Mastodon is built for the disadvantaged and the marginalized. So they have placed a lot of safeguards. Like I said, one of the safeguards is strong moderation tools. Another safeguard is the CW, the content warning. And now a lot of Twitter people, former Twitter people, just don't get it. And I just say that if you tweet about stuff or share stuff that is controversial or could be damaging mentally, put it under a CW. It hides your post and gives the reader an option to see if they want to. You see that one of the things and reasons why I left Twitter was because it was so damaging to me mentally. I keep getting exposed to horrible news about people being killed, tortured, raped, or I get a lot of doom saying posts about the state of my country that we're all fucked. We're always fucked in Malaysia, by the way. We're like, oh, Malaysia is doomed. I just hate posts like that, because I have a really vivid imagination and it goes places every time I read this post. So that CW, that few seconds of consideration helps me to prepare myself before I get lambasted by bad news. And some people who came from Twitter, or I'm not sure, maybe existing Macedonians, do not like the fact that they had to hide their sensitive content behind a CW, and some blatantly refuse to. And that's fine. I just won't follow you. No offense. And that's the whole thing. Everyone has a choice, but I will urge you to consider other people when you post. It's it's a special place where the needs of others are considered first. And why don't we try to do that and be nice human beings? Another thing is that they have alt tags where you need to describe your photograph, and this is to help the blind. Okay, and the hashtags that you use should be sentence case. So, like for example, with the hashtag Facebook Now, perhaps. So F must be capital, N must be capital. This is apparently also aiding people who sort of use speech, audio recital, AI stuff. So people, they can hear what you say without the capitalization. Apparently, the pronunciation is not as good. So things like that. It has helped me to become a better person online. This whole culture thing, and I kind of appreciate it. But if you're going like, I don't want this, I want to spread my message and stuff like that. I want to get 10,000 followers. I want to get traction. How do I get lots and lots of followers? Mastodon is just may not be for you, because while it is Twitter-like, it is not Twitter. It is not a Twitter replacement at all. And one of the things that I think some people are concerned about is like, okay, how am I supposed to rebuild my audience? I'm telling you that, it took me almost 10 years to get to 1,600 followers on Twitter, because I'm a lazy ass Twitterer. But it only took me about 4 to 5 months to get 1,500 followers. And I get 10 times more engagement on Mastodon than I ever did on Twitter. And I feel that it is not the number of followers that matters. It is the level of engagement you get. I find that writers are finding a great time here. Anecdotally for me, I'm surprised that people actually subscribe to my Substack from Mastodon when they see my tweets about it. I've had random Macedonians come to me and say, I found your novel and I would love to read it. So I just downloaded a copy, and I'm like, wow, because I don't promote my novel on Mastodon at all. I mean, I just don't feel the urge to, and here we are. I think all this comes down to engagement and people getting to know real people, and they want to support you. They really know you as a person rather than a number. So yeah, I feel that writers and artists will probably have a lot of support here. I haven't really fully engaged in the community yet, but I see hashtags where uh, writers share, their experiences, or they engage in writing prompts, and I think this is a great way to be a part of the community. So, would I encourage you to join Mastodon? Yeah, yes, definitely. But just be aware that there's good and bad. And whether your experience is good or bad really depends on how you craft your experience here and how you kind of behave here. Yeah, it's true. There are some people who say, oh, don't come and lecture us about how to behave. And I'm not lecturing you on how to behave. I'm just saying that if you want to have a good time with Mastodon, just be considerate of other people and be kind. And that's the culture of Mastodon. And if you come here just to aggressively push your agenda on people, you will not be appreciated. Okay? Yeah, that's all I have to say today. You have a good day now, and I hope that I didn't sniffle that much. Oof. Okay, see ya.